Chapter 35 of Married Rice to Salted Fish. Father Lin's prescription used poison to fight poison, using poison to stimulate the potential vitality of the patient, thereby prolonging his life. The toxicity of the medicine was too strong. After entering the body, the poison is released, bringing unbearable pain and some uncontrollable side effects to the patient. After only 3 days of taking the medicine, Lu Wancheng's legs gradually lost feeling. Even so, the time it could buy was limited. After winter began, every day could be Lu Wancheng's last. But as long as he was still alive, Shao Cheng would not be stupid enough to lay his hands on the Hao Mansion's Shaozhen. Just as Shao Cheng himself had said, he would wait, and when Lu Wancheng died, everything would be over. In mid-October, Zhang Shiquan, who had been away from the capital for several months, was finally able to return. The first thing he did after his return was to ask to see the two masters. During this period, Lu Wancheng was asleep most of the time, and Zhang Shiquan only saw Lin Xingyu alone. Shaozhen, I have investigated the matter completely. Zhang Shiquan's voice was extremely low. The extra income from the villages in Zhuhao did indeed come from a private salt business. Lin Xingyu's eyes darkened and he laughed. To say that Liang Shi is capable but she can't even protect her own children, to say that she is incompetent but she has the guts to do such deeds that once exposed would earn the death penalty. Oh, but she is truly an extraordinary person. During the reign of the late emperor, Dayu's illicit salt trade ran rampant despite repeated prohibition, which seriously affected the income of the court. After the current emperor ascended the throne, he vigorously cracked down on the illicit salt trade, even introducing a new salt law. Selling illicit salt in excess of a certain amount was a capital offense. However, the profits of salt trade were huge and many people still took the risk out of great desperation. Lin Xingyu didn't expect that Liang Shi would be one of them. Lin Xingyu thought for a while and then said, if it is a private salt trade, the income on the books shouldn't be just that much. Shaozhen is wise. The village is just a pretense, and most of it falls to the hands of the madam's family. This was not surprising. Compared to the Hao mansion, Liang Shi's family could only be regarded as a humble one. Thinking they were in a remote place where laws and decrees were not strictly enforced, they used the name of the Nanan House Mansion's village to act as they saw fit in Shuchao, amassing wealth while keeping a low profile. The local officials in Shuchao, even if they perceived something off, turned a blind eye for the sake of the Nanan House face. Given the cautiousness of Nanan Hao, he definitely wouldn't have dared to engage in such shady business. It may be assumed that he had been kept in the dark. Once the matter was exposed, His Majesty, in light of his many years of devotion, might not resort to such drastic steps as to execute the whole family and confiscate all his property, but seizure of some of the family's wealth was inevitable. Zhang Shiquan asked, Shaozhen, can you tell young master Hao about this? No need. Lu Wancheng was still alive. He was nominally a member of Nanan Hao household, and he would be implicated when the matter was revealed. Lin Xingyu looked out of the window and said indifferently, after he goes, I will take care of everyone. The two talked about the details of the many evidences gathered. Lin Xingyu thought about how Shu Shao was not far from Hongzhou and asked, on your way back to the capital from the south, did you encounter an epidemic? Jiangshi's face was grave. The epidemic is raging. Once people are infected, they have a high fever and abdominal pain the next day, with blisters all over their bodies. Those who are weak will die within 3 days. The villages in Hongzhou are filled with dead. Many refugee families are making their way north and in the north, cases have begun to appear. Who knows when this will bring disaster to the capital? I heard that famous doctors from all over the world are gathering at the Imperial Physician's office in order to find an effective cure for the epidemic as soon as possible. It was troubled times and the situation was unstable. This may be the coldest winter for the Dayu in the past 10 years. There was a low cough from the inner room. It was Lu Wancheng who had just woken up. Zhang Shiquan said, Shaojun, I wish to pay my respects to young Master Hao. I do not know. When all was said and done, it was Lu Wancheng who called Zhang Shiquan to the mansion. Lin Qingyu understood his loyalty and said, Go, don't stay too long. When Lu Wancheng woke up, he wanted to drink his medicine. Today's medicine was late and Lin Qingyu planned to go to the pharmacy to personally take a look. Zhang Shiquan followed Hua Lu into the inner room. He saw Lu Wancheng lying on the bottom bunk, his face grey and ashen. He needed to be supported by others even to just sit up. Even if Zhang Shiquan wasn't a doctor, he could tell that Lu Wancheng was wasting away from sickness and that he didn't have long. Lu Wancheng didn't have the strength to speak. You're back. Zhang Shiquan felt a soreness in his heart. I'm here to pay my respects to young Master Hao. Lu Wancheng asked Hualu to withdraw first and asked, Have you done what Shaojun asked you to do? Zhang Shiquan remembered that the Shaojun told him to talk too much, and so he said, Do not worry, young Master Hao. Everything is under the Shaojun's control. Lu Wancheng nodded lightly. Then, about that thing I asked you to handle. Have you found the person? I have. Zhang Shiquan took out from his bosom something wrapped in a handkerchief. This is the token that young master wanted. Lu Wancheng moved his finger and motioned Zhang Shiquan to open the handkerchief. Zhang Shiquan asked, Can I tell the Shaojun about this? Lu Wancheng shook his head. The time hasn't come yet. He thought for a while and said, Go and call the house's carpenter for me. On the other side of the mansion, before Lin Qingyu could even enter the pharmacy, he heard the sounds of arguing. Among them was Huantong's voice. Blue Wind Pavilion uses this kind of fleece flower root every day. Everyone knows it. The eldest young master is sick, but can you say that the third young master isn't? There aren't many pharmacies that have the 1,000-year fleece flower root. Your Blue Wind Pavilion used to take it all before. So, what if we take a little bit today? Huantong said angrily, How can the illness of the third young master be compared with that of the young master house? Lin Qingyu interrupted. What's going on? When everyone saw Lin Qingyu, they immediately closed their mouths. However, they were obviously unconvinced. This time, the madam was making a comeback, and the eldest young master was dying. He didn't have much time left. The servants were naturally less respectful to this Shao Zhen, who was about to become a widow. Young master, Huantong ran up to him and told him what happened, filled with righteous indignation. With the encouragement of his mother and sister, Lu Xiaosong regained his strength. He found countless doctors to examine his condition. He didn't dare expect to be able to return to his previous state of doing it 7 times a night. He just wanted to leave a way out for himself. A few days ago, there was a doctor from the Jianghu who came to the mansion to volunteer his services, saying that he had a sure way to make Lu Xiaosong regain his glory. Men at death's door will turn in desperation to any doctor. Without any concern about this quack's origins, Lu Xiaosong had his servants make the medicine according to his prescription. Among the ingredients was the 1,000-year fleece flower root. As the name suggested, it was a once in a millennium potent medicine. Even in a noble's house like the Nanan Hao, their supply were meager. Lu Wancheng's medicine also needed the 1,000-year fleece flower root. Lin Qingyu spent a lot of money to find some, and the supplies on hand were for Lu Wancheng's medicine. Today, Huan Tong came to get the medicine as usual and happened to bump into the people from Shindai Pavilion, asking the pharmacy staff to give them some of the 1,000-year fleece flower root from Blue Wind Pavilion. Huan Tong rushed in immediately to stop it. Lin Qingyu said, "In the future, the Blue Wind Pavilion's medicines will not be kept in the pharmacy. Huan Tong, bring back the young master house medicine. We will prepare it ourselves." A daring Momo from Shindai Pavilion stepped forward and said, "Shaojun, the eldest young master and the third young master are biological brothers. The third young master needs medicine. Can the young master Hao, as the older brother, not give way to his younger brother?" "No," Lin Qingyu said coldly. "Tell your third young master that his illness will never be cured in his life. He will always be a useless person." Momo gritted her teeth and said, deliberately ambiguous, "Shaojun said that I can only relay what you said to the third young master and the madam. When the madam visits the palace, she will also be informing the side concubine about this." Lin Qingyu sneered and said, "You better not miss a word." Ooh, burn. Like, you freaking Momo trying to pick a fight with Lin Qingyu? Huh? Back at the Blue Wind Pavilion, Huan Tong took the medicine and went to the small kitchen to make the medicine. When Lin Qingyu entered the bedroom, Lu Wancheng was already sitting up. Lu Wancheng was having a hard time getting out of the bed now. He asked the carpenter to make a small square table that could be placed on the bed. His hands were shaking so badly that he had to hold the wrist of his right hand with the left hand in order to barely be able to continue to write. Seeing Lin Qingyu coming, Lu Wancheng put down his brush and said with a smile, "Ah, my Lao Po is back." Should I just say wife? Lin Qingyu, ... The word Lao Po in Dayu meant an old woman. Is it old woman? I thought it was wife. Lin Qingyu really didn't know why Lu Wancheng called him that, but he knew that Lu Wancheng had no malicious intentions, and he was extremely happy every time he called him that. Perhaps in Lu Wancheng's hometown, Lao Pao had other meanings. For example, it could refer to friends and confidants. Oh, no, honey, no, Qingyu. It means wife, not old woman or friends or confidants. Thinking of Lu Wancheng's half-dead appearance when he was poisoned, Lin Qingyu tacitly allowed him to call him that once or twice occasionally. "Did you see Chang Shiquan?" I saw him." "What did he tell you?" Lu Wancheng coughed twice and said, "He just gave me his greetings." Lin Qingyu sat down on the side of the bed and saw that Lu Wancheng had drawn a strange symbol on the paper. An arc with an arc was embedded in a circle, and inside the arc was a small circle like an eye. What is this? Lu Wancheng didn't answer and asked, Qingyu, do you know what people who play with substitutes have in common? Lu Wancheng had told him this question before. They like holding themselves cheap. That's one, Lu Wancheng said. Another is that these people who play with substitutes will definitely fall in love with one of the substitutes in the end, and when they fail to get their love, they will persistently pursue repentance. These substitutes often have the surnames of the Chen Chu Bai Xie. Lin Qingyu was glad that Lu Wancheng had met him. Aside from him, who could possibly understand Lu Wancheng's inexplicable words? Do you mean that Shao Chang will fall in love for real with a substitute? Lu Wancheng smiled and said, How smart. Lin Qingyu recalled, Chen Chu Bai. Chen Hao Shi? Lu Wancheng was surprised. How did you know? You wrote that name. Lu Wancheng snorted and said in admiration, This is simply too clever. So, who is this Chen Hao Shi? Lin Qingyu asked. Is she a concubine of the Eastern Palace? No, he's a man. He's Shao Cheng's shadow guard. Lu Wancheng started at the pattern on the paper. His lips turned white. He's often hidden by Shao Cheng's side. Maybe he has already seen us. Lin Qingyu saw the signs of Lu Wancheng's poison acting up and said calmly, Let's not talk about this for now. Just lie down and rest. At this moment, there was a sudden noise from outside. The eldest young master needs to rest. Third young master, please come back some other time. Go away. If the third young master wants to force his way in, this servant can only... Ah! Lin Qingyu stood up. It's Lu Xiaosong, presumably here for the fleece flower root. Lu Wancheng coughed a few times and his face was extremely ugly. Lin Qingyu was about to call someone to drive Lu Xiaosong away, but Lu Xiaosong had already strode in. Lin Qingyu stood in front of Lu Wancheng's bed and raised his eyebrows coldly. Leave. Lu Xiaosong's face was morbidly sinister. His previous dashingness could no longer be seen. Even his temperament had become twisted. He pointed to Lu Wancheng and put on a fake smile. With him like that, no matter how much medicine he drinks, it's no use. Why does he still contend with me for medicine? Don't tell me he can still leave heirs for this family? Lin Qingyu ignored him. Servants? Huan Dong came with a few of the servants. Young master, drag him out. Lu Xiaosong's hands were bound, but he still refused to leave. He stared fixedly at Lin Qingyu. Lu Wancheng, already half dead. How many more days can you be arrogant? Lin Qingyu, after he dies, what can a widowed male wife like you do? When the time comes, you should be sold to Zhao Fengxi to be played with all sorts of men. Growing such a beautiful face would be all in vain. Oh, this bastard. He already went close to freaking death's door. He freaking did not learn anything, did he? Now, he has to be put in that coffin as soon as possible, okay? Lin Qingyu tried his best to suppress the surging malice. Lu Wancheng needed his rest. He just needed to drive this person away. For the rest, it wouldn't be too late to deal with Lu Song after Lu Wancheng falls asleep. Qingyu, I don't feel so good. Qingyu? Lu Wancheng weakly called his name. He suddenly made an ugh, and bright red blood spilled from the corners of his mouth. Huantong exclaimed, Young Master, how? In an instant, Lin Qingyu's cold brows surged with anger. He roughly grabbed Lu Xiaosong's jacket and slammed him against the pillar. You're looking for death! Okay, probably I exaggerated there, but yeah, this freaking. He's dying. He's dying, guys. He's dying. Just wait for it.